Welcome to a fresh round of OCG Thursday deck profiles. So what is up, guys? OCG's been in their new format for about a month or so now, and they've been experimenting with all of these fun little decks. Well, the first one we have up here for you guys is, in fact, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Madolche. I know how much you guys kind of love this, and you want to mess around with the concepts. Well, look no further. We have a fresh Madolche list. So the first thing I want to point out here, the OCG is in a little bit more of a contaminated format than we are. They have something called Crossout Designator, and we've talked about this a little bit, but declare one card name. Banish one card with the same name from your deck, and if you do until the end of this turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of cards with the same original name. You can only activate one Crossout Designator per turn, so this card actually has a very unique aspect on the game. This card actually counteracts and was designed to counter the competitive metagame because you have a card that directly counters Max C. Well, this is interesting because if my opponent Max C's me and I cross out Designator, target, banish a Max C from my deck, I get to negate that effect. Pretty interesting, honestly. In the grand scheme of things, having a power card like this that is designed to directly counter a counter to the metagame, I don't know what they were thinking when they made this, but it does bring up some interesting questions. One, will this card continue to see a lot of play? Obviously, this is meant to counter more stable S cards, but then you've got things like Ash that, well, you know, they're limited in terms of numbers. So, I mean, by using this to take out something or using this to banish itself, I mean, you do limit yourself in how many copies of something you're able to resolve. But I digress. That's interesting for another day. So, we have 2 copies of Ash Blossom, Enjoy Spring. 2 copies of Dino Wrestler, Prankatops Man. 2 copies of Fantastical Dragon, Phantasme. 2 copies of Gamma Seal, the beautiful Kaiju. Sticking this over a problem card that your opponent is kind of set up will put you into a much better position. I do like the things that Kaijus in Madolche actually do, and I would like to see maybe some Interrupted Kaiju Slumbers or something like that in this deck, but interesting enough, there just isn't any. We have triple copies of Madolche and Jelly. We have triple copies of the 2 copies of Hootcake, 3 Magdalene, 2 copies of Messengelato, triple copies of the Pudding Susior, and then 1 copy of Dined Pudding. Then we have triple copies of Maxi, 2 copies of Summoner Monk, triple copies of Called by the Grave, triple copies of Crossout Designator, 1 Chateau with 1 ticket, along with 2 Super Poly, triple copies of Infinite Permanence, and 2 copies of Red Reboot. Interesting to see that Red Reboot has found its way into this deck, though. This definitely piques my interest in terms of just expandability and things like that. And then the extra deck, we have 2 copies of Fresh to Start, 1 copy of Decode Talker, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Utopia the Lightning for the fresh blowouts, 1 copy of the Dugress the Timeless. So it's 2 level 4s to make it. Detach 2 materials from this card and activate one of the following effects. So you can skip your next draw phase, also draw 2 cards, and then discard a card. Skip your next main phase 1, also special summon 1 monster from your graveyard in defense mode. Or skip the battle phase of your next turn, also double the attack of a monster you control till the end of this turn. Somebody say OTK factor everywhere? Then we have 1 Utopia, 2 copies of the Glass Fluo, 2 copies of Tiramisu, triple copies of Chocolat Mode, and the 1 copy of the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. All for all, though, things I want to say about this. The no extravagance doesn't really catch me as a surprise. I think a lot of the TCG was the one that was like, we don't want to go down this paradigm. You know, like, it's not all that rewarding. I get it. I do. Outside of that, this looks pretty fresh, honestly, for what this deck is capable of doing. Hand traps aside, things like that. It pretty much sets up to be just a banger of a deck. Now, we have some love for Marincess. Now, for those of you that have been trying to pick up Marincess in the near future here, and you're like, oh, I'm ready to go. Well, this is kind of where the deck is evolving in the future. Granted, you know, we have a lot of the core stuff now, especially, you know, these, but you're missing Crystal Heart. You're missing so many of these Link monsters and things to kind of push this deck. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. So, this is Marincess setting up for the release of the next set where you'll be able to enjoy this beautiful deck. So we have 2 copies of Ash Blossom, Enjoy Spring, 2 copies of Dino Wrestler, Prankatops, triple copies of Effect Veiler, and triple copies of Ye Old Phantasme. along with one Ghost Ogre. And then monsters, we have the triple copies of Blue Tang. So normal or special summon, you can send a Marincess monster from your deck to the graveyard, except for Blue Tang. This card sent to the graveyard as link material for the summon of a water monster. You can excavate the top 3, and if you do, you can add one excavated Marincess card from your deck to your hand. It's free floatability. Then we have the triple copies of Crown Tail. So during damage calculation, if a monster battles another monster, you can send this card, send one of the Marincess from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. If you do, the damage you take from that battle is halved. At the start of the damage step, if an opponent's monster attacks, you can banish this card from your graveyard. You never take damage if the amount is less than or equal to the total link rating of all Marincess link monsters in your graveyard times 1,000. Yeah, good luck, by the way. Just free no damage. And floatability. And we have the one Mandarin, 2 or more Marincess monsters. You get to go ahead and beam this on out. Pretty standard. And triple copies of Maxi. So as we have the triple Called by the Grave, the 2 copies of Crossout Designator, triple copies of Signet Mining, search for Blue Tang, 1 copy of the Battle Ocean. So, all Marincess monsters you control gain 200 attack. Also, they gain 600 attack for each equipped Marincess card. Monsters you control in the extra monster zone that were link summoned using Crystal Heart as material are unaffected by your opponent's card effects. And when you link summon a Marincess link monster to the extra monster zone, you can equip up to 3 Marincess link monsters with different names from your graveyard to that link summoned monster. So, you want to know how you get the equips? This beautiful thing right here. We have 2 Twin Twister, the 1 Upstart, the True Imperms, triple copies of the Marincess Wave. This card is bonkers good. And we have triple Judgment and 2 copies of the Steerike. Down here in the extra deck, we have 2 copies of Wonderheart. This is the big link 4. So once per battle, during damage calculation, if this card battles a monster, quick effect, special summon 1 Marincess you control that is equipped to this card. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. You take no battle damage from that battle. During the end phase, equip the equipped monster with special summon by this effect to this card. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you special summon 1 link 3 or lower Marincess from your graveyard. So you get to break back down. We have the 1 copy Marincess Angel. Once per turn, if this card is linked summon, you can add 1 Marincess spell trap card from your spell from your deck to your hand. We have a Searcher for Battle Ocean. We have 2 Marbled Rock, the 1 Crystal Heart, triple copies of the Anemone, along with the triple Blue Slug, the 1 Phoenix, the 1 Dark Fluid Firewall, by the way, and the 1 Borreload Dragon, wrapping up this deck. I gotta give it to Marincess, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of things that make me want to play this game, this is one of the more interesting decks. I'm looking forward to it. And then we have DDD, actually. I don't think there's been a time, really any time lately, that has gotten the chance to see this, but we do got the Divine Go DDD King Go Renji. So the first time you take effect damage each turn, if you do not, each turn, 1 level 5 or higher DD monster you normal summon can be summoned without tribute. So this is pretty good. Then its actual effect is a bonkers. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage from attacks involving this card. When this card declares an attack while your opponent's life points are 4,000 or less, you can make this card gain attack equal to your opponent's life points until the end of this turn. And then you contribute 1 other monster to apply the following effect. So you make this guy attack directly. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in the spell trap zone, or your opponent cannot activate card or effects from their hand or graveyard. So, this card is bonkers powerful. So, we have 2 Ash Blossom, the 1 copy of the DD Ghost, triple Lamia, 1 copy of the Necro Slime, 2 copies of the Orthros, 1 Servant Copernicus, triple Savant Kepler, 1 copy of the Servant Newton, 1 Savant Thomas, the triple Swirl Slime, and the triple copies of the Abyss Ragnarok with the 2 copies of God Ragi. We have 1 Effect Veiler, 2 copies of Phantasme Boy, 2 Ghost Ogre, triple Maxi, triple Lure Darkness, triple Dark Contract with the Gate, 1 Dark Contract with the Swamp King, the 1 Desires, and the 1 copy of the Dark Contract with the Witch. Extra down here, we have 1 Link Rebo, 2 copies of the triple Abyss King Gilgamesh, 1 Needle Fiber, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Kali King Yuga, the 1 Trishula, the 1 Meteor Burst, the 1 Formula, the 1 Bright Armageddon, the 1 Cursed Siegfried, the 1 D'Arc, the 2 copies of Genghis, and the 1 King of the High King Genghis. Wrapping up this week's edition of OCG Thursday. A lot of interesting decks coming out of the OCG. Obviously, we'll probably take a more interesting look at the metagame itself coming out of events and things in the near future here. Remember, every Tuesday and Friday, we have Market Watch for everybody guaranteed. The weekends, we have a little European Market Watch. And then on Thursdays, we do OCG Thursday. Alright, guys, without further ado, make sure you click that subscribe button, and guys, catch you on the flip side. Peace out. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanquil40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.